Sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Hello, my beautiful people. How is everyone doing? It has been a hot, cool minute since I have been on the YouTubes. Honestly, truly, you would think being at home I have more time to make YouTube videos and stuff, but I don't, or I just don't have the capacity. You know, being at home just bleh. And also, I've been like, this last month I've been so focused on my pre-med Zoom parties that I've been hosting that I really haven't had much time for anything else creative, but I figured it's probably been like over a month since I made a video, and I just owe everyone, you know, a little hi. What's up? How you doing? What's poppin'? What is going on? First of all, congratulations to my 2020 poos, class of 2020 graduating. I'm so proud, and I really wish that there was a bigger celebration, but I know that your family, everyone's proud of you. I'm proud of you for graduating. It's a huge accomplishment, you know, and it's an accomplishment that some people work very hard to come to this stage, right? Despite all odds. I watched this IGTV video of this lady who graduated medical school this year. Her Instagram name is called Surgery in the City, and basically the title of her thing was Almost Didn't MD, and she was talking about how, so for those who don't know, in medical school you have to take board exams. Step 1, Step 2 CK, and Step 2 CS. And for most medical schools, you have to pass Step 1 for them to let you move on to year 3. Basically, she didn't pass the first time, or the second time, or the third time. And you know, by the third time, your school's like, all right, we're gonna have to ask you to leave the school. And I don't want to ruin it for y'all, because then y'all not gonna go watch it. But that's kind of the synopsis of her IG, and she kind of talks about the trials and tribulations she went through, that the naysayers along the way that start with ad and with visors. So it was like 20 minutes, but it was definitely inspirational, and it was like wow, but it also scared me too. It scared the out of me, because I was like, what if this is me? Like, what if I don't pass my boards? What if I just can't, I don't know, let me not freak myself out before I freak myself out. Anyways, man, there's one thing I am learning now that, you know, my platform both on Instagram and YouTube are picking up and growing, is that social media can be evil, and people on the internet can be even worse. And if you're not careful about what you say, how you say it, what you do, your past actions, you can kiss your career bye-bye. Like, social media has that power, and of course we know this. We've seen when someone has said something inappropriate or racist on camera and they lose their job, they lose their school. Like, there was recently, well, not recently at this point, but a couple weeks ago, there was a girl and her boyfriend who are not of color that posted a racist TikTok, and of course, I don't know, she got expelled from school, right? And I feel like that was bound to happen. Like, you don't get to do something like that. Do something that's just not considerate. Do something that's blatantly racist and think you're gonna get away with it. And even in the last couple of weeks, I've seen that in my own personal experiences too. Like I mentioned earlier, for those who know, I've been hosting pre-med Zoom parties, and I've been having panelists, other people come on to share their stories. Honestly, I'm learning that you just have to be careful, because it's not everyone that's on your platform that is really actually rooting for you or wants to see you succeed, you know? And when you put so much information out there in the world, you give them more ammunition to attack you. And there had been a comment on one of my previous YouTube videos where someone was like, oh, what's the big deal about telling us where you're going to school or the schools you had gotten into at the time? And for me, it's a pretty big deal, because there are not everyone that watches my videos like me or want to see me happy or want to see me succeed. And there are really people out there that will literally, if you guys were to know what schools I had gotten into or where I was going to school, there's some people that would try to sabotage that for me, you know? And I've seen it happen, y'all. I've seen it happen. I don't know, y'all. For me, it was kind of like my whole platform, my Instagram page, my YouTube page is built on transparency and trust. And the only way to be transparent is if you trust people, right? And I'm finding that you have to hold up discretion and boundaries when it comes to social media, just to protect yourself, right? Like, what good can my platform do if my career is now sabotaged, you know? So I'm learning that I'm just gonna have to be a lot more careful about what I share, how I share it. I think things that have happened in the last couple of weeks have made me kind of err to the side of just not sharing as much. I love my platform and I love what I do for other students, but not at the expense of my medical degree, you know? I can't do it. So I won't be sharing where I go to school, probably won't even be sharing location, just because it's like I just have to protect myself. And what's kind of hard is when you start off a platform being super transparent, just always sharing like those boundaries are blurred and people don't feel like they have to respect those boundaries, you know, which is not the case. If someone puts up boundaries, no matter whether it was at the beginning, middle, or end, you have to respect them, you know. So I just want to put that out there because a lot of people have been like, oh Sean, what's the update, like where you going, da da da. And to BH, me and my mom agree on this one. We're not gonna talk about it till I graduate, to BH, or until, you know, I'm halfway done, probably when I graduate. Speaking of which, wow, medical school's around the corner, y'all, in like less than 2 months, and it's so scary to me, you guys. So it's scary and it's crazy because one thing, when I like vent to my friends and when I like kind of think to myself, I'm often reminded to do a privilege check and humility check and tell myself, okay, in the midst of what I'm feeling, while my feelings can be valid, still being grateful for where I'm at and still recognizing that I'm in a position that a lot of other people want to be in. So I often am aware of that and aware of the privilege I have and how my situation is possibly somebody else's prayer point. You know, I'm well aware of that. So when I share with you guys, it's not from a place of like, oh, woe is me within my privilege or blah, blah, blah. But I just kind of talk through things that I'm going through, like real emotions, things that you will deal with when you get into medical school, when you're deciding where you're gonna go, right? Things you will deal with when you actually are getting ready to go to medical school, right? So for me, I love to talk through them so you guys can see like the real life growth happening, right? You can see the kind of conversations that I'm having with myself. And the conversation of late that I've been having with myself is this fear of change, this just being really scared of what's to come, you know? And those who know me really, really well know that like I am one of those people who I like a sense of predictability to my life. I like a sense of routine. I don't like surprises. Ask anyone that knows me. I don't like surprises. I'm the kind of person that will start a TV show and then Google the finale to find out what happens, just because I don't want no surprise, which kind of ruins the show. But for me, it's like I know what to expect, right? I'm that kind of person. And the thing about medical school and that I'm having to recognize is that there's a lot of uncertainty, right? Like you don't know how fast you're going to learn. You don't know how quickly you're going to be able to adjust your study habits. You don't know if you'll like your experience, right? You can only make decisions based off of who you are right now and the past experiences you've had. And that's really scary for me. It's really scary because I am so used to my routine of working and living this adult life, just comfortable in my bedroom, just thinking about, wow, in a few months, well, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be slowly packing away everything in this room. And that is so scary to me. It's so scary. Like in a few months, like I'll be in a different part of my life. Like I will be in a stage where I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, right? I've always wanted to pursue medicine. Like this has been a long time coming. Like this has been years in the works, and I am just like terrified because everything I ever wanted is coming to fruition and I just don't know what to do with myself. And it's really, really scary, you know? And I'm trying to talk myself through, okay, how can I manage my stress and manage the way I approach this huge transition, this huge change that's coming, right? And something that I noticed about myself, like when I graduated from Stanford, I knew adjusting to adult life was going to be difficult. I anticipated it, right? I predicted it, and it was. For me, it was like, okay, I'm not quite yet ready to fully detach myself away from Stanford, you know, for what it's been for me for the last 4 years, where I've lived for the last 4 years, you know. And I made the conscious decision to find a job nearby where if I ever missed Stanford, if I ever missed my community members, I could easily just go back and say hi, right? And for me, that was because I was trying to minimize the change in my life. I was trying to minimize the overwhelming emotions that will come with this huge change, you know? And for me, of course, I transitioned better because I'm like, oh, well, you know, I always got Stanford if I need anything, right? Like I was able to go to pre-med advising during my gap years when I needed help with like my school selection or my personal statement, or just like talking to a pre-health advisor about something, or just or venting about I don't know how to study for the MCAT and stuff, right? Like I had that. I'm recognizing I'm in the stage in my life where I don't have that buffer. I don't get to like still stay close, right? I have to go somewhere. I have to uproot my life and create a new normal, create a new happy place for myself. And y'all, that shit is scary. This is kind of off topic, but in these quarantine times, me and Netflix have been best friends, like on some real. Like literally yesterday I started a series and ended it. Well, it only had 1 season, so of course I could get through it in a day, but still. It was called Into the Night on Netflix. The show was weird, but at the same time interesting, and I don't know if there's going to be a season 2 of it, because I feel like the way it ended was kind of like there was a sense of closure, but at the same time there was an opening for there to be a season 2, although I'd be interested to see how they were to build a season 2 based off the way season 1 ended. And in that same day, I started another series after that one finished called Sweet Magnolias. And it's very like, you know, mom and pop kind of show, which is not my thing, but my housemate put me on to Little Fires Everywhere, and it kind of gives me Little Fires Everywhere vibes, just a bit less dramatic. It's really interesting, and I'm almost done. There's only one season as well, but I'm almost done. Y'all, I got through Money Heist in like a week. Woo, Money Heist that show was fire. And I'm currently still watching another show. I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like Spanish version or the Spain version of like Orange is the New Black. I've never watched Orange is the New Black, but like it gives me Orange is the New Black vibes, but it's in Spanish with English subtitles. And I'm like, this show is kind of, you know, interesting. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm gonna finish getting to it. I always look like a bag of chips. I just sometimes I'm like, wow, Seun, you need to stop. I wonder if I can keep this same energy in medical school. Probably not, because don't let this video fool y'all. For most of quarantine, I've been in a bonnet. In a purple bonnet, literally. So I only bring out the eyebrows for special occasions, and talking to you guys is one of those special occasions in my life because nothing else is happening. Did I ever tell you guys how my birthday went? I don't know if I did. Oh my gosh. So it was a quarantine birthday, you know. My friend came over and we watched TV with my housemate. I had a little ice cream cake because ice cream cake is my favorite. He brought me some malt, some little cookies, and apple cider. I love apple cider. And some balloons. I was like, wow. So that was how my birthday went. None more, none less. It was cute, but I'm gonna celebrate for 2 years next year. But back to the topic of growing pains and adjusting to change, which is a real thing. One thing about me is like, I like to pride myself on how much I've grown since starting Stanford, of how mature I've gotten, you know, how much I've grown as a person, right? And I think in the last couple of weeks and last couple of months, I've recognized and acknowledged that growth is not a one-time thing. It's a constant. You're constantly growing. And I found that I still have a lot of maturing to do. I still have a lot of growing to do, right? Just in terms of mindset, how I approach situations, how I respond to situations and others, right? But then also just kind of remind myself, hey girl, in case you forgot, you're an adult who needs to make adult decisions in timely fashions, and like, you have to take ownership for the decisions you make, you know? Now I'm in a place in my life where a lot more decisions of like, okay, really weighing out the pros and cons, you know, really asking myself, what do I value? What do I find important? What matters to me? And not allowing everyone else's opinion to shake fundamentally my values, right? Because when you're trying to make decisions or decide what to do, you're going to get advice from friends, loved ones, family, mentors, people who matter to you. And assuming that you really care about their opinion, you take it to heart, you take it very seriously, you know? And I'm learning to like be able to hear and receive advice and feedback, but still being able to make my own decision, which is super important. I've heard conversations where like other accepted med students like considering deferring for a year just because of everything that's happening. And like, obviously at this point, white coat ceremony, the same way graduation, is not gonna be what we all wanted it to be, which makes me really, really sad, you know, because the same way y'all didn't work this hard to not walk across the stage, that's how I feel about a white coat. Like, I've worked so hard, you know, I worked so hard to get to where I'm at today, like, and even sometimes when I don't even give myself credit for how hard I've worked in this journey, right, and for the growth I've had in this journey, I still have to remind myself, like, I deserve a real white coat ceremony, you know? I just can't give up now. Bro, why do I feel like there's something crawling on my... Sorry, y'all. Wow, I haven't done my makeup in over a month. This oxidizes and blends in a bit better because the girl can't be looking crazy out in these streets. I mean, not real streets because I'm not going out, but I'm just praying for grace and mercy and a spirit of strength in the midst of change, things that are scary. And I was talking to my friend Rezi, who honestly, y'all need to follow Rezi on Instagram because she's amazing. And you have to follow her children's book as well, Girls for Medicine. But I was talking to her, just kind of, venting and stuff. And it's crazy how God is like, God works in mysterious ways. And honestly, truly, like, I met Rezi at a med school interview. Like, there was this one school, which will not be named because neither of us are going to. But there was this one school where it's so interesting because it was the school that I actually liked the least, wasn't too keen on. But it was the only school I had interviewed, apart from HBCUs, where there was more than just me as a black girl, or more than just 2 of us. There was like 5 black girls at this interview, and it was not by mistake. It was divine. It was done on purpose. And at that interview, I had met her. I did. And you know me, I am all about black girl power. If I see something, we gon' get this acceptance together. So I remember, like, we all sat at the very front row together. There's just this table of black girls and everybody else, and she was one of them. When I started my Instagram page, she was like reposted or something on like like maybe it was Medish or Melanated Med, one of those Instagram pages. And at the time I didn't quite know the direction I was taking my Instagram page in, so I was just reposting what I saw, like, these other Instagram pages repost. I reposted her. And then she had commented under the photo saying, "Oh my gosh, like, hey, like, how are you doing?" or something like that with a heart. And I was kind of like, this girl commenting on this photo as if she know me from somewhere. What the heck? So I was just like, I'm just not going to address the comment because I kind of don't know, where it's coming from, or maybe she's just that friendly, right? And I forget how, but we got to talking in our DMs, and that's when she was like, "Girl, we interviewed together." And from the picture she had, I didn't recognize her because she wasn't wearing her glasses. And it's so crazy because it's like she recognized me even though I didn't recognize her. And when I tell you guys, ever since then, we've connected, and I'm like, this is my sister in the Lord. Seriously, I kid you not. Like, she is someone who definitely inspires me and encourages me to do better, be better. In the midst of getting advice from her, it reminded me of, like, at the end of the day, let's bring it back to God. Let's bring it back to what the Bible says. And I admire her for that so much. I'm just so appreciative because sometimes God will put people in your life, in your way, or God will arrange for certain things to happen, not because, for example, the way I see that school that we interviewed at was not because I was supposed to be there or go to that school, if I'm being honest with you, right? It was because God wanted to ordain a situation where she and I would meet, and she would push me and encourage me to grow in the Lord, And I am just like, I love that girl. It's crazy just how God works, But I'm just kind of like at this place of, wow, like, everything is just coming full circle. Like, I remember one of my earlier videos that I made, I think about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where I think it was like the intro video to my YouTube page, and I was like, I'm just a girl trying to scam her way into medical school. And here I am, years later. The scam has been done. I mean, it wasn't much of a scam because, I actually worked for it. And in times like these, I am just appreciative and grateful of the people who have been on this journey with me from like the get-go. It's crazy. I think I will still somehow do med school vlogs. I still plan on doing informational videos. Like, there's a lot of topics I still have to touch upon.
But I just need to find time, sit down, brainstorm, film, edit, then upload.
It'll get done somehow, some way. Yeah, I think I'll still do the vlogs. Y'all about to see me struggle again in medical school. But by God's grace, we will get through it. And then if you feel so compelled to, you can hire me as your psychiatrist. Although I'm not sure that would be appropriate because, as a future psychiatrist, there are just certain boundaries that have to be upheld. Period. Poo. Congratulations to my poos that are applying this cycle. This is a rather crazy cycle, I know. to be applying to, but it will get done, and I have faith as long as you put in the hard work, as long as you've been smart about your school selection, you will get into medical school. And I'm super excited for this year's group of babies applying. By the time this video is posted, the panel probably would have already happened, so I apologize to the poos who are watching this after the fact, but I got a couple deans of admission to come on Zoom with me, and I'm hosting a panel where we're going to talk about what this application cycle is going to look like with, you know, coronavirus and, you know, the implications of it, and just how to build a competitive application, because I feel like we're in unprecedented times. No one really knows how this, I feel like there's not much of a sense of predictability to this cycle just because of how many changes is happening, and it's kind of crazy. So I got, you know, some pretty generous deans to hop onto Zoom with me to talk about this, and I'm super excited. I'm expecting a lot of students to be on this Zoom, but also it's kind of cool because I'm like, wow, look at me, girl, not even in medical school yet and you already got deans on a panel. What you gonna do when you get into medical school? I just can't give up now. I feel like I didn't really talk about anything substantial in this video, but at the same time I feel like I did. So we're gonna go ahead and say that I did. But super excited for this new phase of my life. Like, it's so surreal that I'm just kind of like, I feel like it's not real at all. But it is actually real because I got some loans waiting for me telling me that it is real, so it has to be real. Alright, poos, well, that's all I have for you today. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, just go ahead and subscribe. It's free $99. I post videos. There's not a predictability to my posting, but I post videos. I'm very transparent. I love to talk about my journey. I love to help other people get to where I'm at right now. Follow me on Instagram so you stay up to date on all of that stuff. Follow me on Instagram because that's the best way to communicate with me. You're more likely to get a response out of me on Instagram, TBH. I respond to Instagram more than I do text messages. I have 100 unread text messages to prove that. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Please take care of yourself. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in another video.